Hello and welcome to The Magic in You, where I'm here with Candia McKormack from the British Pagan band Incubus Succubus, which she founded with her husband Tony in Gloucestershire back in 1989. And now, some 35 years later, they continue to perform and write songs based on their pagan path, with themes that often include history and the practice of witchcraft, folklore, and vampirism. So, welcome, Candia. Thank you very much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to chat about the magic in you.
Thank you. It's good to be invited.
Just going to bring me on. So we're going to have this discussion. So I did send you through a series of questions, but I'm just going to sort of bring them into our discussion here. So first question is, how would you describe your current path or what you do, especially in relation to the magical work in perspective that you have?
Right. I would consider myself a solitary or hedge witch, mostly. Tony and I do work magic together, and we followed before we met each other. We were practicing witches, but in a kind of make it up as you go along, which is actually I've gone right back to that. Yeah, which is I find it's the way witchcraft and magic works for me is we've had the structure of being in a coven in a group, and it's which was wonderful and powerful working with a group of people. But then I think when you're practicing magic on your own, or is it just as a day-to-day activity, because it doesn't need all the high magic, the ritual, the regalia. And so I think it's just being aware that it's around us all the time, and that being close to nature. So yeah, when I'm alone in nature, that's when I feel most powerful, most kind of
Oh, no.
most pagan.
No, no, wonderful. And I think that's getting more and more important in our, say, our modern world, with many of us living in the city, is finding that sort of making that time to be back out in nature and also to sort of step away from our devices and get back into that sort of connection with Mother Earth. And as you said, this is sort of the primordial aspect where paganism sort of comes out of and coming back to our roots, really. We don't need all the pomp and ceremony. I mean, some of us like it, but to come back to our roots as well. So thank you for that reminder for us all. And the band itself has been around for a long time now. So, how did you get started, both with the band, but also because a lot of the songs that you sing about are magical, or is about witchcraft? The two combined, how did you start your magical journey, and did that sort of flow into and influence the band as well?
It absolutely did. Yes, I say, even as a child, I I'm not sure I knew what the word witch meant, but I identified as a witch, and I was happy. It's in the 70s when we could go off, and we could all be a bit feral, and sort of just come home when you're hungry, come home, at tea time, and so disappear into the woods all day, making dens and pretending to make potions, and all that kind of thing. But just and it was just a wonderful. No devices then, of course, no smartphones, no computers. So just really disappearing and feeling really close to nature. It just felt like the most natural thing to do is to be it, and not kind of to plan what you were doing, not sort of say, okay, this is a certain time of the year, and I need to be honoring the goddess and practicing this. So I've kind of, in a way, as I say, we've worked ritually with groups, but I've kind of gone full circle, where I'm going back to just following my instincts. And I think we all have very, very different ways of working and seeing the world. And the wonderful things, when we come together, there is always some kind of deep connection there, even though we might have different ways of finding a way to tap into that energy, the magic. We all have the same kind of, ultimately the same goals.
And and your music sort of reflects that as well, because
Yeah, I went off track then, didn't I?
that's not
I do that. I do that a lot. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah, so I was, when Tony and I went to college, we were both practicing witches then, solitary. And for a whole year of the course, we didn't really like each other much. And I don't know what it was. And then there was something just gelled, and it was like, um, he did a talk in one of the classes against about the evils of the Catholic Church, and how women have been persecuted. And I just thought, oh my God, I love you. um, and so when we did get together, he said, "Oh, I hear you're a singer," and he was looking to form another band, because he had been in a punk band, and then so he was looking to form another band. So we were at college, and so yeah, went back to his place in Cheltenham with a bass player, and we just started thrashing things out, and it was just naturally became that. I mean, some of the poetry I'd written before meeting Tony was very, very much sort of nature based, about folklore as well. Huge interest in the folklore of the British Isles and also other countries. And Tony was writing similar kind of things, so we found we had so much in common that was just the way it naturally progressed with the band. And with music as well, we find we have some common ground with the music we like, but we also have very different kind of, I like a lot of 1940s blues singers, and classical, but Tony likes classical music too, but his will be slightly more sort of strident Wagnerian, and I'll be sort of, yeah, I don't know, sort of, yeah, but we do, and I think that's what works quite well for the music, is that if we were both very, very similar, then it would all get a bit samey, I think. So we're bringing our own little interests and musical tastes into it, and throwing it all in the cauldron and mixing it up and seeing what comes out.
And so you've been together playing music for what, 35 years or so. So that's a major achievement. And you play all, not just in England, but all across Europe. I know you've come to Australia. Yay, that's a number of years ago. That really made my life. Have you toured America as well? Have you gone stateside?
We have, not extensively, but yes, we have played. We've played New York a couple of times, and New Orleans and Chicago, and Mexico is one of our favorite places for playing. But yeah, we'd like to play more, but it's just fitting it all in, family life and all the rest of it.
I know that feeling as well. So, being both a musician and also practicing witch and pagan, and you do other things, like you have a real job as well. You're an editor of a magazine. How has your path shaped you? How has it improved your life? And also, I'm going to run this question in with these ones as well, because we're going through times of much change. And I know within the sort of earth-centric communities, often there's not that support network when things get a little bit dark for us. So has your path been able to sort of like offer you that sort of solace or comfort in those darker times as well?
I think it's very difficult to kind of separate them, because it becomes, I'm sure all pagans will feel this, that everything is so enmeshed with your magical life and your day-to-day life, is that you find strength in the funniest, strangest times. You might be doing the shopping at Tesco or something like that, and then something will come to you, um, and it keeps me sane, to be honest. Well, sane as I am, I'm not completely sane, but it just works. And I say it's so enmeshed, is that I I can't say I think I used to. I think as a sort of a teenager and in my early 20s, actually think about how I was going to magically, sort of make things happen, manifest, and but it feels almost like it naturally kind of things come to you. I'm not explaining this very well at all, but no,
Well, I understand what you're talking about, but yeah,
yeah.
it's just like you're plugged into the current and you ebb and flow with it, and things just arrive if they're meant to arrive, and they don't if they're not meant to come in.
If they're not yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's the thing, is knowing not to kind of labor a point. When the magic's not flowing, when it's not flowing, is that not to keep pushing it? It's not meant to be,
Yeah.
and I think that comes with age, wisdom, or just sort of being part of a magical
Mm.
life
Yeah, and I
over
suppose
a long period of time.
and also more sort of like general experience as well. I think as we get older, we realize that the difference between wants and needs. Just because we want something doesn't necessarily mean that we need it. And
Yes.
nor do we need it right there and then. We don't need that person, we don't need that thing. And it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's it. When you're a child, you have to have it then, and you go just yeah, and I'm going to stamp and scream until I get it.
Some
So
adults still
yeah,
do that. So yeah.
yeah, I'm sure. I think I do occasionally. Yeah, yeah, it's been known.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is there anything that you know now, sort of looking back with your vast experience, that you wish you knew when you first started on your journey?
Uh, I I think I would just sort of say, it's a matter of patience, and things are meant to happen when they're meant to happen. It's going back to what we were just talking about, is trusting in the world around you, trusting in your instincts, and not trying to force things too much. You can gently guide.
Mm.
That's what we do with magic, isn't it? Is we can sort of guide things to be as we would like them to be, ideally.
Mhm.
But it's knowing, and I think it is very much a thing when you're younger. It's just going to push, 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 and go, going to make this happen, going to make this happen, and also there's certain, to extent, being selfish, I think, and is just thinking about yourself. Whereas I think when you get older and you see yourself as being part of, maybe it's a group of people, being part of, well, how you fit in with the world, how you
Mhm.
fit in with the natural world, um, which you don't necessarily feel as much. You feel what works for you, what you
Mhm.
need. So yes, it's just that. It's entering the crone kind of phase where you get sort of comfortable in a way, and you trust,
Yeah.
and you allow things to happen with a little bit of guidance.
Yes, and I think that trust too is something that maybe a few people are struggling with in our modern day and age with all our AI and fake news and
Oh,
it's We won't go there. That's a completely different
No,
discussion.
no, let's not. What's happening tomorrow? Oh goodness me! Yeah,
Yes, and it's okay. It's just like trust that the gods, Mother Nature, um, knows what they're doing. It's out of our
yeah.
hands.
And things will work themselves out. Things will
Yes.
end up where they're meant to be. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And as you said, coming back to nature and looking at nature, how nature has these ebbs and flows, and like the moon has its cycles of darkness and light. So does, the seasons as well. Maybe we're going through like a fallow time in order to plant the seeds for what's going to be rebirthed at a later stage. We can always live in hope.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good way of looking at it, isn't it?
That help,
It's
that helps me.
yeah, yeah. No, it does. I mean, it's there are times when I think we'll all have lows when you can't see light, you can't see why things are meant to be the way they are. So if you can sort of think, okay, right, this is a fallow period, or this is a time of quiet contemplation. This is gathering things together, and everything will be as it's meant to be. Um, but it is difficult. It is difficult. It's not. I can't pretend to say that
Yeah, yeah.
as
And I think,
witches
yeah.
you're completely perfectly balanced and everything is just so zen that everything's wonderful. But it's not. But it does improve with age. I would definitely say that.
Yeah, 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 no, wonderful. And I just want to sort of like, because I wanted to keep these sort of discussions a little bit short, because I know everybody's busy, but with your band and the music that you and Tony have been putting together for, said, I keep going back to this, 35 years, 'cause I think it's a major achievement. Do you have any sort of upcoming events or shows, or I know you're back in the studio or about to go back into the studio again for the next album?
Well, as we're
Mhm.
speaking, Tony's upstairs putting down some guitar tracks for a new album. So you probably can't hear him. Hopefully, no spoilers. But yeah, we're working
And
we're working on something right now.
that's fantastic. And this is album number
28, I think.
I've got
20
I've
studio
got
album.
I've got some
I
behind me
was
because I'm a
I
bit of a
know.
fangirl. Fangirl. I mean, these
Yes.
dates, these
Thank
date
you.
me. That's all right. So that's going to lead me into my next question. And it's like, of all the 28 albums and the numerous songs, I mean, I don't even want to count up how many songs you guys have produced and written, put out there. Do you have a favorite? And can I be so bold in asking, do you have a least favorite that, especially when it comes to the gigs that people keep asking for, and you're going, oh my God, no, not that song.
Well, you can probably guess that every gig we do since it was written back in 1993, I think it was, Witches. We can't do a gig without performing Witches.
Look at that.
That's
I've got an
like,
old version of it.
yeah, look at that.
Yes, I know you've
that's with
updated it. Yes, it's
that's
a
with the old
class.
spelling and everything as well, isn't it? Is that with the C's?
Yes, yes, you with the C's. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, proper old school.
this is
So yeah, that,
classic.
that's if I can't think of a gig we've done without um performing that. So that's but it hasn't got stale for us. It will never get stale for us because when you're getting that energy of the audience, if they're enjoying it and sometimes spontaneously you just feel this energy sort of oh, I'm getting goosebumps now, but when it's this exchange of energies between us and the audience, and you just it's just the most wonderful thing in the world, and you feel that kind of sense of brother and sisterhood. You feel really really close to them. That you're all on a similar plane. You're all feeling that same energy, and um, and it's just a wonderful theme. So witches, and also there's Vampire Erotica is one of our
Mm.
most, I think, on Spotify. I think that's our most popular track
Mm.
because I think everyone loves a bit of sex and death. So don't we? Don't we all love sex and death?
I'm not commenting.
I know you do. And some of our chants, like the
Mm.
witches chant, again,
Yes.
which is wonderful when we hear people that use it in ritual or
Mm.
meditation. Um,
Yeah.
so so yeah, again, I can never get tired of us performing a song if it brings joy, if it means something to other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So you can tell I'm skirting around the thing about having a favourite song, can't you?
Yeah,
Because I
yes, because,
don't.
but then also it's like if people are watching this and you've got a couple of gigs coming up and it's just like, oh, where you request your least favorite song and just see what Candia does.
Oh yeah,
But also,
yeah,
as you're saying about witches, it's like that because it's a ritualistic song, and that's what happens, especially with people, with so many people being solitary these days. When you're working with other people, and it's the energy, and often,
mm,
yeah, it's a different energy when you're working solitary, but when you're working with a group and everybody clicks, it's
yeah.
that feedback, and that's just sort of blows you away as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, the feeling can stay with you for weeks. It
mm,
really can, no exaggeration, and it's just it kind of lifts you up, and you feel so kind of. Well, it's not armored because it's you're still interacting with everything around you, but you feel sort of strengthened, and
mm,
it's yeah, it's just
yeah,
the most wonderful thing. And
no,
it just reminds you just how very real magic is when things like that happen. Yeah,
yeah, yes, and as we're saying right at the beginning, you don't need to sort of be in a specific room or on a certain time of day or night when this planet's rising or setting to create that magic. You can do it anywhere, and
yeah.
you can do it in a gig as well, which is fantastic. So we are coming to our end,
Mm.
Candia. Um, I know you just mentioned that Tony's upstairs, is putting down the tracks for your next album. You are doing some gigs this year. I noticed on your website, which I'll put the links below so people can find out where you're playing next. And I did notice that in March you're going to Cardiff, which is really interesting because back in the day, in the early 90s when I was actually living in Cardiff. That's where I first came across Incubus Succubus. I was taken to I think some dingy place somewhere, and
Oh,
I had no idea.
it's probably somewhere like Cardiff Bogies and with no
It
toilet doors,
was
no
dark,
toilets,
and I didn't know what I
into
had
the
walked
floor.
myself. And I was a newbie because been in my own little sort of isolated group in Adelaide and come over and met a coven in Cardiff, and they took me off to this band, and I'm just going, oh my God. But I have been, as I said, a fangirl ever since. And
Oh,
I'm quite honest to say that even at my age, I'm still a fangirl. So I would like to, and I would like to, because in my book, Call of the God, Tony also contributed some of his artwork, and I think we've even got some of the lyrics to some of your songs about the God in there as well. So you've been very generous in supporting my little adventures as well. So I'd like to say thank you. And is there anything else you would like to add before we sort of close out? Any words of wisdom?
oh, wisdom. No, I think some, I've been out wassailing today, and I'm just warming up. So wisdom, I don't have much, but no, it's one wonderful things that these traditions are still being kept alive.
Yeah,
So if you have wherever you live in the world, if you have any traditions that either kept going or been brought back, do
yeah,
support them if you can. I just think getting together with a group of strangers, which I was the only, I went there on my own, and I didn't know anyone else, and it was just joyous. So support your local folklore groups and get
yeah.
along to those events. take up a
especially
more forest dancing side.
well, especially in this day and age, coming out of COVID, there's a lot of hesitancy. I mean, okay, COVID's been a few years now, but I've not even noticed where I live, there's still a hesitancy. Everybody's so used to doing things online, which has its benefits, but this that cannot replace being face to face, being in a, as you said, in a community, in a group of in person at an event, or sharing the
Yeah,
same interests. Yeah.
and
Okay.
coming away smelling of wood smoke, best thing in the world.
Have you guys or incense or something like that, or realize you've got candle wax down something, and it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, great. So that's wonderful, Candia. Again, thank you very much for your time. And I know everything's sort of hush hush in relation to this next album that you are putting down. And we look forward to hearing more about it. So I'll put the links to your website below. And if you go onto the Inkubus Sukkubus website, there's a list of all their albums, tours, lyrics to all your songs, so we can all sing along to you at the gigs, merchandise, so much more. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Nice plug.
I'll do my best. So thank you very much. And I'll let you get back to your wassailing. Happy wassail.
Yeah. What sale?
Blessings.